Hi everyone, this is Andy. I like beautiful things but not an empty wallet. And welcome back to Confessions of a Shopaholic, the podcast where we unpack the psychology behind retail therapy. So today's episode starts with a confession. You know those moments when you're just casually scrolling on TikTok, maybe watching a get ready with me video, and then suddenly someone says, "Guys, this product literally changed my life." And before you know it, you're opening shop, looking at the reviews, reading 10K sold. And somehow, the item is already in your cart. Now tell me honestly, did you really plan to buy it? Or were you influenced? Because today's episode is about something that plays a huge role in our shopping habits: social influence. In other words, the way other people, our friends, our culture, and even strangers online shape what we buy, what we want, and what we think we need. And if the last episode, The Art of Deserve Ko To from Selena, was about how we justify buying things emotionally, today we're talking about something a little different. Sometimes the urge to buy doesn't come from inside us. Sometimes it comes from around us. Let's start with the most obvious source of influence: our friends and the people closest to us. Think about it. When a random ad pops up online, most of us just ignore it. But when a friend says, "You should try this, it's really good," suddenly we trust it more. That's because humans naturally rely on interpersonal influence, meaning we look to friends, family, and people we trust for advice when making decisions, including the things that we buy. Recommendations from people we know often feel more authentic than advertisements. And honestly, this happens all the time. Maybe your friend bought a new skincare product and then suddenly everyone in the friend group wants to try it. Or someone shows up with a really cute bag and now the entire group chat is asking where they got it. This is what I like to call friend group Budol. One person buys it, everyone else suddenly needs it. And the funny thing is, it doesn't even feel like pressure. It just feels normal. Which brings us to another powerful force behind retail therapy: social norms. Social norms are basically the unspoken rules about what is considered normal or acceptable in a group. When we see people around us doing something, like buying certain products or following certain trends, we naturally start to think, maybe I should do that too. For example, think about fashion trends. Maybe suddenly everyone seems to have the same type of tote bag, the same sneakers, or even the same water bottle. At first, you might not care about it at all, but after seeing it everywhere, on your friends, on Instagram, on TikTok, it starts to feel like that item is just part of the vibe. And without realizing it, you find yourself thinking, okay, I think I might need to do that too. Not because the product changed, but because the social environment around you changed. Now let's expand this a little beyond friends. Because sometimes the people influencing us aren't even the people we know, like me. This is where social proof comes in. Social proof is the idea that when we see a lot of people doing something, we assume it must be the right choice. It's basically our brain's shortcut for decision making. And online shopping platforms are experts at using this. Think about it. You open a product page. You see 4.9 stars. You see 12,000 reviews. And you see 10K sold. Suddenly, buying the product feels like a safe decision. Because if thousands of other people buy it, it must be good, right? But the truth is, sometimes we are not evaluating the product itself. We're evaluating how many other people approved of it. In a way, we're letting a crowd decide for us. And of course, we can't talk about social influence without mentioning social media influencers. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and many others have completely transformed how products spread. Instead of traditional ads, we now see everyday people sharing their favorite products through hauls, reviews, and TikTok made me buy it videos. What makes influencers so powerful is that they feel relatable. They talk casually, like a friend giving recommendations. So, even though they're technically part of the marketing, their suggestions can feel more personal and trustworthy. But this also means that trends can spread incredibly fast. One viral video, one must have product, and suddenly thousands of people are buying the exact same thing. It's not just advertising anymore, it's networked influence where social media amplifies recommendations from one person to millions of viewers. Now let's talk about something that's especially relevant to us here: culture. Because shopping isn't just an individual activity, it's also shaped by cultural practices and shared experiences. For example, in the Philippines, malls are not just places to buy things, they are social spaces. People go to malls to hang out with friends, go on dates, spend time with family, and relax during weekends. Shopping becomes part of the social experience. You walk around together, you browse stores together, you try things on together, and sometimes you buy things together. Even the concept of Budol reflects this cultural dimension. When we say we got Budoled, we're jokingly admitting that someone influenced us to buy something that we did not originally plan to get. But the funny thing is, we often enjoy the experience. Retail therapy isn't something about the product. It's about the shared moments, the bonding, and the excitement of discovering things together. But here's a question I want to leave you with. If so many of our shopping decisions are influenced by other people, how much of our consumption is really our own choice? Are we buying things because we genuinely want them? Or because we want to feel connected, included, and part of the trend? Social influence isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's actually a natural part of human behavior. You, me, we're social beings and we constantly learn from the people around us. But being aware of it can help us pause and ask ourselves one small question before we check out. Do I really want this? Or do I just want to belong to the moment? FOMO? But of course, knowing that might not stop us from adding to cart. But at least for now, we know why. And that's it for today's episode of Confessions of a Shopaholic. In the next episode, we'll explore another side of behavior change and consumer habits, and why breaking certain spending patterns can be harder than we think. Until then, stay mindful and maybe double check your cart before you check out. This is Andy. Again, I like beautiful things but not an empty wallet. I'll see you in the next confession.